So the first mistake that people have is they might be happily in a relationship with somebody, but not married, and they have a child, and it might be going well for a while, but without an order that actually says that the father has legal custody or that the father has some physical placement right, the father does not have either, all right? And that has to be created by a court order. Hey everybody, Kyle Kaufman at hkklawoffices.com. We're family law attorneys in Wisconsin, and in today's video, I want to tell you about a few things about custody related to children that are not of a marriage, and things that you need to know. In Wisconsin, the rules are different for those children that are of a marriage. Before I get into that, please like and subscribe to our channel. Leave some comments below. All right, guys, so what we're talking about here is that in Wisconsin, when we have children that are born in a non-marriage, those children are subject to different rules, essentially statutes, than a child that is born within a marriage. But for the people that are in that category, that have a child out of wedlock, is one way to say it, people in Wisconsin need to understand this area of the law. And the mistakes that I see generally are this. The first one, okay, that you need to be aware of in Wisconsin is that we know who the mother is because the mother gives birth, right? Who the father is, in Wisconsin, if you're married, there's a presumption that if you're married, you're the father. But when you're not married, there is no legal presumption of fatherhood. Fatherhood has to be established, okay? That's number one. And it has to be established either through an order, you can sign a paternity acknowledgement as well, which gives you the legal status as father. So the part of that's significant of this is once you create the legal status, I'm father, I'm on the birth certificate, you might hear that. That is different than the creation of legal custody or a right to have physical placement of your child. And most people don't know that. And that is something that is significant, and both parents need to understand that. So the first mistake that people have is they might be happily in a relationship with somebody, but not married, and they have a child, and it might be going well for a while, but without an order that actually says that the father has legal custody or that the father has some physical placement right, the father does not have either, all right? And that has to be created by a court order. And that court order can be created by stipulation of both parties can come to an agreement and ask the judge to approve it, or if there's no agreement, the judge has to make the order, okay? So the first thing that you need to know is you gotta have an order for both parents to have some legal custody or some physical placement. The second thing is, though, if you have an order, be careful about your order. All too often, I see parents agree to orders that don't have any detail or description as to what actually type of legal custody they have or type of physical placement they have. So there's sole custody, there's joint custody. That's over decision making in Wisconsin, okay? The orders oftentimes are short on what the physical placement schedule is. So now we have people not married and perhaps living together, and if they don't live together, we don't have a specific schedule in place. So we need to understand what physical placement rights each parent has, and that's something you need to give some thought to, okay, when you're establishing an order and asking the court to make an order that for both parents brings some certainty to who has custody, some certainty to what the physical placement schedule is. And the third item here is lack of any information in an order about financial matters, right? So there's nothing when you're not married. Again, so while it swings one way that says, hey, there's no physical placement or custody rights, there's also no financial obligation until that's established by a court order. So that would include things like child support and health insurance and uninsured healthcare expenses and other variable expenses like school costs and clothing and things of that nature. So these are things that we see a lot, and that especially, especially people that are younger are just not aware of that, okay? And we've seen it with all ages, but particularly young people are not aware of that, and it's important because as they grow up with their children, they oftentimes realize later that they don't really have any legal orders. So make sure you're talking to an attorney. If you're having a child and it's outside of a marriage, you need to understand, both as the mother and the father, what rights exist at that point and what that means. Have that conversation. Most attorneys like us will do a free consultation. So talk to an attorney, and we'd love to talk to you about your matter in Wisconsin. You can reach out to us. All right, thanks.